they beat Michigan. And as a son of Michigan, I have to keep that kind of down. You got a border patrol problem if you got me coming from Michigan this morning. But I want to thank you for your warm welcome. And don't you think I picked a great guy to be my running mate? I was going to come here and that your governor was just going to speak an extraordinary address as he did, but I didn't realize he was going to wear the brightest green I've ever seen. This guy is a standout of governors across the country. He's a standout of the state. You got a great governor. You got to make sure he keeps on leading Ohio. And get Judge Mandel to help us in Washington as well. So that he's going to help Ohio and help our country. You know, I happen to hear this faint sound in the distance. You may hear, and it actually reminds me a bit of the president's address 4 years ago, speaking to the convention in Denver. Because you know he's speaking in front of those Greek columns. Remember that? And this is kind of like the Greek chorus in the background. Everything they do reminds us of Greece, and we're not going to Greece. We're going to get America back again. Speech last night. I'm not kidding. I pulled out a speech that he gave in Denver. It's really a brilliant speech. He says marvelous things. He just hasn't done them. My guess is that a few weeks from now he'll be speaking at the Bank of America Arena. He won't call it that. He'll be in Charlotte. And he probably won't put Greek columns up behind him. He won't want to remind us of that either. But he will have all sorts of promises to offer again. He'll tell you how much better things are now. But you know, this time, we have more than just the words. We have the record. And we understand the big gap there is between what he promises and what he hopes, what he actually delivers. And that's why this November, the people of Ohio are going to make sure we get a Republican in the White House. In his speech, the first thing he said was that he measures progress differently than do people like us. Actually, as I listened to how he measures progress, I measure it the same way, so he was wrong on that. But he said, number one, he measures progress by whether people are able to get good jobs. But under this president, 23 million Americans are out of work or stop looking for work or can only get part-time jobs. It's a travesty. He said he would do one thing, he did another. We're going to put in place someone who actually knows how to get the job done. See, my record was a little different. I was able to get unemployment down to 4.7%. Wouldn't we like 4.7% again? Your governor's on the right track. You see, he's doing here in Ohio the exact things that have to be done to get small businesses to grow and thrive and big businesses to expand and hire more people. This is about more jobs and more take-home pay. It's not about rhetoric. It's about getting the job the American people need, and we will do just that. He also said he measured progress by whether incomes are going up or incomes are going down. Well, yeah, he wants that one too. Guess what's happened over the last 3.5 years? Just as Paul indicated, incomes in America for the average family have dropped by $4,000. With the median income in this nation of about $50,000, a $4,000 reduction is enormous. And think about costs for gasoline and utilities and food and health care. He also said, by the way, bring down the cost of health insurance this year by $2,500 per family. Have you seen that? No, as a matter of fact, the average family has seen health insurance prices go up by $2,000 and $500 a family. This is a president who says one thing and can't deliver. It's finally time to get a president who can do what he actually says he'll do. Out there is chanting 4 more years. Do you want 4 4 more years of high unemployment? Do you want 4 more years of declining wages? Do you want 4 more years of home values in the basement? Do you want 4 more years of the big banks getting bigger, the small banks getting smaller? Do you want 4 more years of Barack Obama? Neither do I. You guys, we have a very different vision for this country. The reason the president's failed in doing what he said he'd do is because his basic and fundamental belief about America just doesn't square with the America you and I know. He doesn't understand what it is that makes America's economy so powerful, so dynamic, and so unique in the world. I've had the thrill over the last couple of years of going across the country and meeting people across America. Small businesses, big businesses. I met a woman who has her own upholstery company. I said, how'd you get in business? She said, well, my husband lost his job and he took a class in upholstering, and she, being the better business mind of the family, she started a company and hired him as her first employee. Then she went out and hired 40 more. Now she has a successful upholstering business. I met another woman just a couple of weeks ago, in High Point, North Carolina. She has North Carolina over there. She has a furniture business, tough competing with China in furniture when they cheat on their currency as they do. And she had to try and find a way to save her company and save the jobs of the people that work there. She found a way. She makes a very special kind of furniture, hospital waiting room furniture. Now she dominates that. And by focusing on something so narrow, she's been able to keep her business together and her employees together. By the way, just a word to the women entrepreneurs out there. If we become president and vice president, we want to speak to you. We want to help you. Women in this country are more likely to start businesses than men. Women need our help. I saw another entrepreneur. This guy's name is Jim Leotone. Jim comes from Southern Illinois. Graduated second in his high school class. Second from the bottom, that is. He concluded that college wasn't part of his future, but he convinced his dad to give him a loan, and they split the business. He'd start 50-50. He wanted to make food, a restaurant kind of business, and deliver it to people. So he went out to buy one of those hamburger grills and those rollers that make the hot dogs and the hood that takes out the smoke. Way more money than he had. The only thing he could do with the money he had was make sandwiches. So he set up some tables in the garage and made sandwiches and delivered the sandwiches to people at work. And now Jimmy John's has 1,500 restaurants and employs 60,000 people. That's how America works. You see, it's individuals like those. Well, Melanie McNamara, she was the woman in High Point, North Carolina, and Jimmy John. It's people like that who take risks, who work hard, who start businesses, who hire other people. These individuals in this country, we celebrate them. We acknowledge their achievement. We love their success. We don't attack success in America, and we will never apologize for success abroad. But as Paul said, the president has a very different view. He fundamentally believes that government is the source of our great strength and economic vitality. Look, we value our government. We value the people who work in government, from the bus drivers to the police and teachers and people who even work in bureaucracies. They're essential to keep our country going. Don't forget, we pay for them as well, but we do value them. But we also recognize that what makes America unique is not just that we have a government with government workers and bureaucrats, but we have free people, and the job of government is to protect the freedoms of the people so they can build a brighter life for themselves and for their communities. When the founders wrote that Declaration of Independence and said that the Creator gave us our rights, they were both inspired and brilliant in my view, and those rights included life and liberty and the pursuit of happiness. In this nation, people are free to pursue happiness as they choose. And so for hundreds of years, they've come here with dreams, hopes of building a better future for themselves and for their children. And some succeed brilliantly, like Jimmy John and Melanie McNamara. And others succeed in other ways. People succeed by working hard and getting a promotion at work and being able to save money for their kids' education. People succeed by working hard and getting on the honor roll as a kid. And let me tell you, if your child gets on the honor roll, works hard, studies, does well in the tests, makes the honor roll, I know that to get to school, he or she had to get on a school bus. But when they make the honor roll, congratulate them. Don't say thanks to the bus driver. They're the ones that accomplish the achievement. This is a nation that celebrates individual initiative, people seeking greatness, people who have dreams. Look around the world. It's here where the dreamers come. Not a lot of dreamers in North Korea, are they? The dreams they have there are just getting out. Not a lot of dreamers in Cuba. They wish they could come here with relatives in this country. This is the land that promotes dreams and the vision of individuals. And it is the freedom of individuals we will protect and reignite America's economy. I'm convinced that you're going to see, by virtue of our administration, this economy come roaring back. Great jobs are coming back. There are 5 things. There are 5 things we're going to do. There are 5 things we're going to do that are really going to get this economy going. And I think you know what they are. Number 1, we're going to take advantage of our energy, our oil, our coal, our gas. Number 1, take advantage of energy. We're going to do what the President said he'd do, which is we're going to get America, North America, independent for energy within the next 10 years. America's going to be energy independent. We need to make sure that our workers have the skills they need to succeed and that our kids are given the skills that will allow them to succeed. It is inexcusable in the nation that invented public education to have our kids performing in the bottom quartile. The President just can't do what he knows he should do because his largest campaign contributors are the teachers' unions. If we are President and Vice President, we will put the teachers and the kids first and the union behind. Number 3, we're going to take advantage of trade and make trade work for America. We're productive. We can compete with anyone in the world successfully. I want to open up new markets, particularly in places like Latin America, where there's a growing middle class. It's a huge opportunity for us. We speak the language, we're in the same time zone, so we have opportunities there. But at the same time, I want to make sure that people in trade who cheat recognize there will be consequences. We won't stand for it. China has cheated. I'm going to put an end to it. So number 1, energy. Number 2, the skills we need to succeed. Number 3, trade. And number 4, this is an important one as well. You're not going to have entrepreneurs risk all their savings and convince their family to invest in their business. Nor are you going to have big multinational companies decide to build factories in Ohio or anywhere else in America if they think we're headed to Greece. And if we keep spending massively more than we take in, that is where we're headed. And therefore, if we're President and Vice President, we will do everything in our power and accomplish this goal. We will cut federal spending, we will cap federal spending, and we'll finally get on track to have a balanced budget. And there's one more. And that is, number 5, champion small business. Help small business. Help entrepreneurs. Help innovators. Look, big businesses are able to accommodate, in some cases, all the regulations that get thrown on them because they have all the lawyers and the scale. They can even sometimes handle the big tax rate, highest taxes in the world on corporations here, because they have businesses all over the world. Big companies like GE, as you saw, paid no tax a year or 2 ago. That's because of all the operations they have around the world. But if you're in a small business, If you're in a dry cleaning operation, or you're starting a taxi business, or you got a small software company, let me tell you, those regulations and those taxes are crushing the small business. The president wants to raise the tax on small business from 35% to 40%. That's the income tax. And by the time you pay the state tax, which is just a little under 6%, and then you pay sales tax and gasoline tax and real estate tax, when you find out that the government is taking well more than half of what you make. And so people decide, well, I'm not going to begin my business. That's why we're at a 30-year low in this country for new business startups. I want to make sure that we help entrepreneurs and innovators. I want to speak to the women of America who have dreams, who begin businesses in their homes, who begin businesses out in the marketplace, who are working in various enterprises and companies. I want you to be successful. Our campaign is about making it easier for entrepreneurs, women and men, to start businesses, to grow businesses. We will champion small business because we know that's where our jobs come from. We know that if we get this economy going with energy that's abundant, by getting the skills people need, by opening up new trade and cracking down on cheaters, by finally getting us to a balanced budget and being a real champion of small business, America is going to surprise the world. We're going to stand out as a shining city on the hill and grow because of our extraordinary economy.